What's up, everybody? We are back once again, another episode of In the Trenches. This is episode number 33. I can't believe we've done so many of these. But it's a pleasure to be here. And we are joined today by Mr. Sonder Crypto. Sonder, man, what's happening? How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Yeah, man, I'm doing great. It's a lovely day. I live in Colorado. It's snowing in May, and, hard to complain about a little snow in May.
Snowing in May sounds like a nightmare, to be honest.
Man,
Like,
we've needed water so bad, so we'll take whatever we can get. Um, Well, I start all of these kind of the same way. I'd love to get to know about your history as a trader. How did you get started?
sure, yeah. I've been in crypto since 2017, so this is my third cycle. A lot of money has been lost in those, I don't know, 7 or 8 years. I first started with, I believe, $500, and there was this coin called Confito. You had to buy it on exchange back then. And I put $500 in. It doubled to like 200, maybe like $1,000 within like 4 hours. And I was like, "Yo, this is sick."
Yeah.
Next thing you know, it rugged. Obviously, it was a big enough rug where it actually showed up on CNBC. There's an article about it if you look at it. And instead of doing what like a rational person would do, which is like say, you know what, I'm done with crypto, I took another like $500 and I'm like, okay, let's run it back. And
Go.
so that's how it started.
Okay, right on. What did you like struggle with the most when you were kind of in the early days?
Everything. I would say like nothing made sense. Like one of the things I've always been telling people is the worst time to start in crypto is like the tail end of a bull market, which was for me like I think like October 2017, something like that. So like September, October. And what that basically meant was like I was just trained to like expect things to go up. Like I would go on Binance app and I would like buy something and it would go up and I'd be like, I'm fucking genius.
Yeah.
And so, your risk goes up and up and up. And everything that all the vaporware, it just makes sense to you because the numbers are going up. And then you start doing the moon math, you're like, oh man, if this goes to X, I'll make this. And so you never really even think about selling on your first cycle because that's just the way you think everything is.
Right.
And in that sense, 2018 was what really tested me because like things would go down 90 and then it would go down another 90, which I didn't know was possible. Um, I got all my buddies in, so like that's how my bag working first like originated was like I told everyone about crypto. Like I was the crypto guy in my friends and like everyone I knew. And so like 2018 was extremely embarrassing.
Yeah, it feels, man. You got into it in October. I got into it like the end of December 2017.
Mm.
So if it was bad for you, it was even worse for me because I want to say that like the couple months leading up to December, I was watching from the sidelines going like, how on earth are these assets like going parabolic like this? This is insanity. And then finally, when I decided to ape, I think I was like 2 or 3 days from Pico Top 2017.
Yeah, that's actually a really common like trading or like sentiment analysis is like the reason one of the things I try to do is like I try to get exposure to things like early, right? So even if it's not a big size, I just want to like have that rope bag, like, if it goes up, you don't rope, because it just really helps you temper your emotions. Whereas that moment that you wait, it could be like a week or 2 weeks or more, but like you see that energy building up. And if you don't have any position in whatever this coin or narrative is, you just feel like that like urgent need, that FOMO to like jump in at the chart, right?
Yep.
And the problem is you're feeling that, which means that everyone else is feeling that exact same feeling. And so when you buy, you're basically, buying the Pico top. So like I just like throwing a little bit into like whatever I look at, especially if it's something that I've taken some time to look at and I do think it has a higher upside. Like I'll just have something in there just so I can be like, okay, well, now I can add on a dip because I already have a position. I can build the position instead of just like, oh fuck, like it's going up again. And like you check the chart and yeah, so that's one of the things that's helped me a lot.
Was there a particular position that really marked like an inflection point for you in your trading career?
Many. So in 2017, I've gone through different evolutions of it. 2017 was VeChain. So like I just I fell for the whole like supply chain management, like next generation tech thing. I was sitting there like BMW's like partnership. I'm like, wow, this is like you're getting in the ground floor of something amazing, right? The problem with that was like it was vaporware, and it was like me jumping into the at the very peak of top. And so I lost all of that. Like I made like turned like 55K into like 60K, and then I won at 100K obviously. So I lost everything, and that was like the first trade that really taught me like, okay, fundamentals actually don't matter if it's a bear market. Like nothing matters.
Yeah.
It's just value, right? Um, Most recently, the trade that taught me the most was actually in 2024, which was Genon, and that was
Ah,
S perfectly executed trade. Um, in terms of uh, yeah, I don't really like P&L sharing. That's not like my thing, but
sure.
that was my biggest trades in I think ever. So that was from a low amount too. Like I'm not as great with sizing really big into big trades, but like having a decent bag and then riding it for longer than most people will, which also leads to a lot of round trips.
Sure. Okay, right on. So multiple formative trades, some that taught you what not to do and some that kind of taught you what to do.
Correct.
Yeah. So like the other day when we asked you to come on the show, I was telling some trader friends of mine, they're your friends too, I imagine.
Mhm.
And the resounding response from my trader friends was like, that dude is an S tier bag worker. That you're just one of the best at it in the space. So for people that are listening that don't know kind of what is involved with bag working. Can you like talk us through what that actually looks like in practice? What makes somebody an S tier bag worker?
Sure. In order to bag work, like there's different levels of it, right? You could be a bag worker where you have a bag and you just want to like shill it to everyone, and you're just giving everyone like these unrealistic or realistic in your perception, but these huge target market caps, and you just really want people to buy, and you're just really convinced that this is something that you believe in. And I think that's like more along the lines of shilling. So you'll see this in a lot of replies on Twitter where it's like, buy this meme coin, here's this ticker, it's the whatever first of this. Maybe they got like the this has a million followers on TikTok, or like the owner claimed it, right? And like those are all forms of bag working, but the way I think about bag working is really selective. So not like if I'm gonna post about something once, I think it's kind of cool, but it's like I really lay it out there and be like, okay, this is why I think this narrative makes sense to me. It's less about like trying to tell them something like this is why it's going to X market cap, but it's like here's why this matters, here's why you should care, here's why I care, and then like I lay out the picture and then I say like, okay, this is what I think, but you can connect it for yourself. And I think it's a lot more around storytelling.
Hmm.
Um, and I can go through some examples. So I've been bag working different coins for a long time, but like I think the first one that first bag working example I have was actually with base chain in general. That was in spring of 2023. I think that was actually the biggest moment for my account Sonder in general. I built it in 2022. It had like I was stuck with like some low number of followers, and I would just post. I didn't know what I really wanted to do. I was just like, you know what, it's a bear market. I'm just gonna post some stuff. But in 2023, I saw that they were going to release base chain. I've seen how BNB had come out and how that really swept up retail. I was still aligned with the 4-year cycle, and I saw like opportunities there because I had been early to other ecosystems like AVAX. I was early to Binance Chain. I was early to all these other networks. So I'm like, okay, this is probably the same game plan, but I publicly went all in. I'm just like, hey, what base is going to be where a lot of opportunity is. You had Toshi, I was there for, Dog and Me, like all these like memes that went from literally zero, like 50, 100K market cap to like 80 million, 300 million, 500 million. Obviously, I didn't execute on the whole trade, but it was enough for me to really say, okay, if I put my conviction out there, I lay out my thesis, which was, Coinbase is one of the largest exchanges. Obviously, they're going to onboard retail. They're going to really do their best to make their ecosystem thrive. We didn't actually see that play out exactly, but it's just like you have this picture in your head, and you kind of connect the dots, and you tell the story. Like bag working, a lot of it is just telling a story that emphasize why you think is right, and then leaving out the details that might not actually agree with your story, because that's why I always say like bullish propaganda, because you're writing propaganda, you're sharing propaganda, right? doesn't mean you're lying, but it means you're selecting the truth. And so enough people get kind of hypnotized and like you psy up yourself and the people around you. That's kind of how you have the really compelling stories, because you have this thing where it's like, okay, well, this makes sense. One of the metrics I was capturing was the Coinbase Coinbase apps ranking on the App Store. And I'm like, okay, well, it's at 200 now. So if it goes up to 100, you can see some froth. If you go up to 50, 25, 20, like that's kind of like where the catalyst is. So you have something far in the future you could aspire to, and then
Hmm.
you just kind of bring people on the journey with you.
Interesting. So, like, the reason that I asked this question, or the reason why I kind of want to dig in here about bag working in general, is just because of like, if you're a new trader in the space, I think it could be like really difficult to determine who's real and who's fake. Like who are the people that are out there that are just shilling their bag and they're gonna, jump on a dime and jump to a new token to shill that one, and who are actually like in it for the long haul. Do you have any sort of way or any sort of advice around how somebody who's newer to CT or new to FOMO and just kind of learning about traders, learning how to follow traders, do you have any sort of um, like general rules that you could point people towards, like how to tell if somebody is a LARP or if somebody's just kind of shills their bags versus somebody who's actually like working towards the future of a token?
Sure, we can use the Bruce Lee quote, right? If you're not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but the man who practiced one kick 10,000 times, right? If this KOL is like building that narrative and really sticking with that project through the down times, through the quiet times. He has something that is compelling that he's sharing. That something that maybe is hasn't played out yet. He doesn't give you like really extreme market cap predictions. He just says, "Hey, this is what I think might happen. Here's why I believe in it. Here's why I may be wrong." Just being really authentic and like transparent of what it is he really believes in, which is why like I like a lot of the top like traders on FOMO, because like they give you like, I mean, the Unk promotions have been like really good. Like they have been, you know really working on building that story and that sentiment, which is also aligned with the current meta, right? Like people are tired of the clicking, people want to do less. Like a lot of things have to uh like in order for a bag working to work, you have to bag work something that's either currently in top of mind share or something that you believe will be attracting mind share soon, which means a catalyst in the future. The problem with a lot of people who they bag work some coin that's super obscure and like no one really understands what it is. Um, it has a like inside joke or something where like the surface area of that resonating with people is just not to a level that would really give you that upside. And so when I do bag work, I really look for like a lot of different convergences in terms of the thesis for it to line up. And as always, you can always be wrong. I think it's just you can tell a KOL is like really in it and committed when they are very like like upfront with you, like about they're not telling you that this is going to happen. They're telling you this is why they think it's going to happen. And the last thing I'll say about this is most KOLs are super lazy, right? They take like supply and then they dump it right away.
Mm.
1%, whatever, they have some fee. So they'll dump it right away and then they'll move on to the next one. Like you can really easily tell the ones who are like, I would say not authentic, because they're just filling a new ticker every few days, right? And like they're not really putting in that work. When the coin is down, they never mention it again. That's why when I do show something, like I always try to mention it when it's down, be either
Mm.
because I'm wrong or because I think that the trade isn't over.
Interesting. That seems like a pretty good reference point to kind of be mindful of is, yeah, when the token isn't performing well, where is the person that was talking about it a lot?
hmm
That seems like a good spot. Who do you think the best bag workers in the space are right now?
I mean, you got to give it up to Murad, right? Murad has been
He's a
like,
G, but is he kind of old hat? I mean,
he is an old hat, but it's just like I think like I mean you have I think Remus is good. I think a lot, but a bunch of the top FOMO traders are good because I think FOMO incentivizes you to really lay out the thesis, which is why I find the criticism against FOMO with the cabal stuff just like so such a stretch, because yes, of course people are gonna sidewall it and like extract, but like you literally don't win by doing that. Like it's different than if you were using like Cold Scan or all these other like I don't know exactly what you can call them. I don't really follow the social side on like the tracking wallets on KOLs as much, but
Interesting.
like being able to update theses and being able to like share put it out there, right? Like if you it takes only 1 second for me to look at like the people who are really the loudest voices against FOMO, where you look at their feed, they're giving you zero value, right? They're not every day is a new outrage, every day is a new thing of this guy's doing this and just like sure you do need that sometimes, but like at least Zach XPT, he goes out and he like really digs into the whole thing. Whereas these guys, they just they have a story and they run with it. And then you go look on like the people who are being targeted in the most. It's like they're giving you their thoughts. They're telling you I might be wrong. They're telling you this is what I believe. They're giving you what they see, and then you can make a judgment based on that. You can follow them, and I think it's really stupid to blame the people who are sharing their conviction on on the timeline on the feed, because it's so easy to just be like, hey, you called that coin, it went down. Like, yeah, well, are you in the arena? Are you putting your opinions out there? Like, what if we looked at every single one of your trades? Like, how would you match up, right? So I think it's just a lot of people, they take no responsibility, they take no accountability, and that's part of bag working, right? Bag working is taking accountability because you are the one who's going like every day I log on. I'm literally just obsessively thinking about like if I'm actually bag working something like I am, every once in a while, I do get burnt out from it. But I am thinking
Sure.
about that constantly. Before I go to sleep, I'm writing notes like, oh, like this is another angle, this is another angle. Like I'm stress testing. I'm talking to people. I'm talking to my normie friends. I'm saying like, hey, like, does this make sense to you? Like, there's so much like time that goes into really thinking about like one the narrative, but other like there's a whole other side which is the logistics for like working with people on the KOL side, on the content side, like there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, you have to have some sort of like serious blind faith in something to really get behind it.
Delusional optimism, right? Like I
Yeah.
wouldn't like, and I think part of it is survivor bias for me because I have been around for so long and I've kind of like I've taken so many hits, but like I'm like I would compare myself to like that airplane that has like a bunch of bullet holes in it and I'm just still flying because
Yeah.
I've
Nice.
been in here for so long. It's just like I know like the cycles. I just know like when you feel like it's the bottom. Like one example of this is I actually reached out to a homie of mine, like not even too long ago, like 3 weeks ago. I was just down. Like I luckily I have been able to secure a lot of like the profits on not a lot, but a good amount from the previous 2025 area. But like I did whatever I had left on chain, like I got wiped hard on 1010, and then I was like just not in the right mindset. I was making a lot, losing a lot. I just wasn't like really in the game, and then like it just kind of all I would say like like what do you call it? Like it all peaked like 3 weeks ago. I'm just like, man, I'm washed. Like I haven't hit anything good in a long time. I'm like, uh, I just felt like crypto had like, and this is like when the Scented had like released this video, and like he was just like there like playing this like Fortnite. I'm like, this doesn't resemble anything I kind of have been here with for the last 8 years. So I
Right.
was like, fuck, like this is just like yeah, maybe I am washed, and I felt that before, but it was a bit more prominent this time. So there's a tweet I made where I messaged one of my homies. I'm like, yeah, I just feel washed. I'm just like, this is like pretty like I haven't been doing that well. And then he's like, we talked a bit. I felt a little better. And he's like the guy I go to as a last resort one of the times. And the same thing that happens is he comes to me as a last resort as well, and it's always a bottom for both of us.
Interesting.
3 days later, Asteroid launches, and then I'm like, okay, well, I can see like Asteroid on Solana was already 8 mil, and then Asteroid on Ethereum was like 1.5 mil. And I had some I had some money on EVM, so I just bridged over, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna grab a decent bag of this. And then I also got the Solana one. But I could tell the Solana one, like the price action on the Solana and the EVM was so much different. If you just look at the chart on the first couple hours, Solana would hit like 8, 9, 10 mil, and it would just get like red candle, like small red candles every time it touched that. I'm like, okay, these FNF guys definitely got in early. So I was like, I'll have that bag. But I looked at the Ethereum one, I'm like, why isn't it going up? Because it took me about 20 minutes to even bridge on there. I was like, taking care of my son, ran upstairs, he grabbed the ledger. use deep bridge, but it was like unk time. Like it
The
was there.
whole process. Yeah, seriously, right.
I would look at the chart and it wasn't like going down. Like it would go up and it would just go trade sideways for a bit, right? I'm like, okay, this looks good, and then it would go up. So I bid that, and then obviously I didn't hold the whole way through. I still have some left. I re-entered recently, but like it was a good trade, like one of the best trades I've had in the whole year. So like all that to say, like yeah, trenches are extremely difficult. Like I've been here for 8 years and I still have a lot of struggle with this. Like if you want to be in the game for a long time, you really need that resilience. Like you also need the resilience for bag working. Like you just need to be able to like stick with it when it's hard.
The piece about having kind of like a trusted compadre to lean on feels really, really important. Like having your little crew, whether it's one trader in your particular case or it's a group of traders, whatever. How has that process been for you? How have you found those people? What was like the key thing that helped you build the network of trusted people that you trade with?
Sure. And I think this would probably be relevant to a lot of new people, even though I think the game has changed a lot. In 2017, I joined every public group chat there was, and then like I was always there. I was just on Telegram like 24/7. And this is the same in 2020 in DeFi summer. And a lot of those people that I started trading with in 2020, I still trade with today. So like these are like the guys that I've been through with, like liquidated to zero, like in debt, like, and all the other homies were also in debt. And we're just like we were basically our like trauma crew. Like we were
Right.
all so broke. Like we were, we went through that, and then like being able to see everyone do well. After not everyone, most of us were able to do well. Some people dropped out, and we haven't heard from. But like I do think it's extremely important for certain types of traders. I know that there are traders that do well without a group. Like you can do well by yourself. But for me, like I have never been the sharpest. I've never been like the best trader. I've never been like the guy who's like looking through all the alpha and like brings some like new like product or like project to the group chat. Like, yo, this is like super cool. Like I did all the math and it makes sense. Like I'll be honest, like the first 1 or 2 years of me being like these group chats, I provided zero alpha. Like I was just there to hang out. I was vibes.
Mm.
And actually, what I look back now, it's like, and because the only reason I know this is because people would DM me and like, yo, I love to see you win, man. Like like they were just like very like we were really close in that sense. We had really strong bonds. And then part of it I think is these group chats, they last a long time. And you end up talking to your group chat more than you talk to your family, your friends. Like you're there every
True.
morning, you're trading time, you're there with them all day long. You're hanging out with them. And so when you start as a trader, you actually like you don't know a lot. You don't have the pattern recognition to really build that sort of wealth of knowledge. So the first couple of years, I was literally the vibes guy. I was just like keeping the chat like alive when like people were down. Like no one would talk because everyone's so down. I'd be like drunk on like New Year's Eve or something. Like take a picture of my bottle of that like Kenny I'm drinking. Like yo, what's up? Like let's fucking get lit. Happy New Year's, everyone. And then they'd be like, oh, Happy New Year, son, or whatever, right? So
Right.
like there's this level of like you just have to show up, and I think in general like showing up is a huge part of it. But also like when in the bear market it's like not about showing up and clicking. It's just showing up and being there because the noise is so much lower, where you can make an impact by being on Twitter or on whatever space that you're in, and just being in that known face. And like for me that was a huge part of the networking, right? Because like I was just always on. And from the many years I learned pretty slowly, like I was able to like build that pattern recognition.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. I think that there's a maybe a preconceived notion around like I got to come with good ideas, good trade ideas. And the reality is like if you're young and you're or not young like in age, but young to trading, you may not know what a good trade idea is. So like finding alternative methodologies for kind of gaining access to folks and like being the vibes guy, it feels like something kind of anybody could do if they just chose to, if they like wanted it.
Hmm.
That's awesome. I want to go back to what you kind of started touching on earlier, talking about tokens that you are willing to like work the bag for.
Hmm.
Those tokens probably all share some similarities. What are like the specifics that a token has to have for you to like really get behind it?
Yeah, so going along the topic of like luck surface area, where like if you just are doing things, you have more chances of being lucky, right? That's the fundamental way I look at bag working as well.
Sure.
I look at it with like a narrative surface area where I try to like look always at the biggest picture. Like I zoom all the way out and I'm like, okay, well, what is the sentiment that is like really like prevailing in on chain or in the world or in whatever sort of narrative that I'm looking at? And a good example would be like just like right now, the what's the prevailing on-chain narrative? Well, it's return to tradition. It's the unk. It's rejecting this, click. It's like click for pay. You're basically like clicking a million times for, and you're making like 2 Solana per trade, which it works. If it works for you, it works. But like people just didn't want to do that. They didn't want to get paid per click, right? They just wanted to hold. They wanted to like really like just bring back some that level of like bring back that level of belief and conviction in one thing. And then you saw Ankh, you saw Neat, you saw like all these projects that really encapsulated that. And so that's one layer. One layer is okay, well, you have this sentiment that's really just along on chain. Then you can look at like, well, where am I looking at now in terms of like other audiences or other like luck surface area or narrative surface areas that I can really play into, right? It could be the chain. Is there something happening in the chain that is going to bring volume to that specific uh, area? Like, is there a reason for people to care, right? Because you can be on any chain. Like Solana right now is still doing well, but like, what is it that people are going to care about in the next 2 or 3 months? Another thing I would look at, I almost always look at is like, is this something that's new or novel, or at least is this something that can't be vamped? Now this is a huge point, which is like, can it be vamped?
Mm.
Because when I started with Zoomer, I did Zoomer like in 2024, I think, and there was no vamps back then. This was pre pump fun, but like for me, Zoomer was basically just me looking at like, okay, Boomer was on base and it was like 40 mil, 35 mil or something. I found Zoomer, the ticker was like 25K. I'm like, okay, there's like a bit of a mismatch here, right? And the reason I actually jumped in and like CTO'd and like did all that with Zoomer was because I was like, driving by a high school and I saw these kids, they're all freaking rocking their broccoli hair and they had their, their what do you call it, their mog glasses and stuff. I'm like, this is extremely different. Like these guys are like such a big new like cultural trend that I
Yeah,
just
right.
wasn't really being captured. And I'm an unk, but I was just like talking to like my friends, like cousins and stuff. I'm like, yo, what's up with this? And they're like, oh yeah, this is cool now. This is cool now. I just felt like having that vehicle to really capture the mind share of being a Zoomer was really aligned with at that time the 4 year cycle. I still like 4 year cycle was a huge thing. So in order for the 4 year cycle to really play out, I just my another level of this surface area is retail is going to come back. And what do retail care about? It's like they care about what's the easiest to digest, right? And everyone knows what a Zoomer is. So I just kind of like take these pieces of pattern recognition and I'm like, okay, well, this I can now have this huge picture of like all these different audiences it can resonate with. And if that all lines up, and if the catalyst, that brings that attention in the future lines up, then I think I have something here. It went to like 30 mil, and from 25K was all right. I actually like round tripped a ton of it, and like it actually put me off bag working for a while because it is a lot of work, and like I think that's one of the things that people get wrong about bag working.
Um, when you're developing this thesis, right, you're looking at all of these different angles. How long does it take you to go from um, identifying the angles and then kind of like committing to this idea or committing to the process of starting to like really work towards that token?
With Zoomer, I made a lot of mistakes. I just was like, "Oh man, it's 20K. I'm just gonna freaking buy like 30% supply or something." I just bought a
Mhm.
shit ton and I started giving it out. Actually, that
Got
was
it.
the worst idea ever because if you are going to be bag working, CTOing, or doing any of this, you'll learn really quickly how fast people dump your supply, and then you get blamed for it. Um, but like, and that's worse. I would say it's worse to have KOLs in on day one because one, your attention maximizes on day one, right? All the KOLs already post about it. They're gonna dump supply. You don't really understand how to commit to something yet. So your coin, your chart just goes all the way up and then it just goes all the way down. And that reversal candle is really off-putting to people. Uh, So don't bring people in. Don't give out supply. If you're gonna build something, build that core community first. Um, with the most recent one that I'm pretty much pushing right now is Fire, right? And that was because a good homie of mine from 2020 DeFi summer, he hit me up. He's like, "Hey, this is the coin I'm working on," and I thought it sounded, really dope. I went and bought $500 in FOMO, and then I forgot. Like, I'm just not really like I wasn't really thinking too much, but like I didn't realize how low the market cap was, and obviously you buy $500 on FOMO, it's $500. So next thing I know, I had 20% of supply
Oh,
on FOMO. So it's now I was the face of this coin, and then
oops.
the version one it bricked. So like it became a honeypot because they were building a custom contract, and I was getting crazy DMs like, "Yo, you just rugged this is a honeypot. What the hell? Like explain, explain, explain." And another part of me and the reason I bag work is I have a huge chip on my shoulder where like if people are like, "Hey, you rugged," or like, "Hey, this coin is down," I'm like, "All right, I'll show you. I'll show you.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
gonna I'm gonna work for this now." So like that kind of like just drew me in, and then I have been bag working it since. And it's another thing is like how easy does like bag bag working and bull posting come to you? If you have to really like put a lot of effort into like thinking of why this narrative or coin makes sense to you, then I don't think you should bag work it. Like it has to be something you're thinking of like 24/7. Like I am literally thinking about this 24/7, just like always writing notes, right? I mentioned earlier. Like it has to be top of mind all the time. And if you can't make that level of commitment, then you're not going to make it because the first week of CTOing something or running something is always the best, right? You get all your friends in, you guys are all in really early. Then you're like, oh, now we have all the supply. Like, we can't get rid of it because we're going to dump on each other, right? So you got to bring other people in. And then people get bored. And the person who CTOs it, he's like the guy who has to keep it going. All your friends have tokens, but they're not as motivated as you are to like keep it going. They're just like, hey, I got that coin. I support you, but like, I'm not really going to do much else. So like week one turns into week two turns into month two. Like it's not easy to really bag work and put your reputation on something, but if you are going to commit to it, you have to commit to it. And you're gonna miss trades because of it, because you're focusing on bag work, and you're gonna miss a lot of things because you're focusing on one thing. But if you do have conviction in it, the payoff is great because like you can look at the Unk story, right? Like that payoff of just being able to like see something through, I find it very rewarding, and that's why I do it. I also like doing it from lower market caps because I like bringing in people early. Like I don't feel as good bag working like really high market cap coins. Like I wouldn't bag work Asteroid because well I'm gonna make zero impact on that basically,
Mhm.
and I don't want to bag work people and then like I get them in at 50 mil, it goes to 25 mil or whatever, right? Because like I feel a lot more comfortable, like the people who support me from like way back, if they get in early, if they sell that, I'm happy. Like I'm happy they made money. And then if you come in late, well, this is trading. Someone has to take the loss.
So it kind of sounds like, as far as like getting into an initial position, you're almost shooting from the hip. Is that true?
I shoot from the hip with everything I do. I
Yeah.
am like I don't like I have this sense of like things are just gonna work out. Like bag working. Like I don't ever really think about failing. Like I do lose all my money. That's why actually when I do lose all
Yeah.
my money, that's like, oh yeah, I think I failed there. But until that happens, I don't even look at like the possibility of failure. Like, and I don't think I've ever had. Like in general, I think the best way to live life is this way. And I've been through some, I would say, rock bottoms and everything. But I always assume like I would just make it through. Like I don't know if this is something that's inherent in me or just I've seen myself come back many times, but that's just like wired into my DNA.
It's a really, really difficult thing to have wired in, or it's a really difficult thing to procure. I think if you have it wired in, you have it wired in, and you're very, very fortunate for that. I almost want to ask you, like, what can somebody who doesn't have that hardwired do to like get some of that? Because I agree with you. I think the eternal optimist, I think having that philosophy, having that mentality is going to make you just wildly more successful in life, no matter what you do. So if you're trying to be a trader, you got to be optimistic. You got to have so much confidence, almost like unyielding. Like you have to believe in yourself so deeply. Do you have any thoughts on like how you maintain that, and maybe how somebody can kind of procure it for themselves?
do hard shit. You got to do hard shit, right? Like you really have to just like the best example I would give is like martial arts, right?
Hmm.
I've been training martial arts. I've been doing Muay Thai for like 10 years, almost 9 years. And like when I started, I remember like I was getting beat up every fucking day. Like I didn't know how to throw a punch. I gassed out. People hit me with liver shots. I fall down. Like you have to just like bite down on your mouthpiece, right? Like it's you do hard things and you build resilience. And I think me being in crypto for so long, I one thing I do envy of other people is like some people are really good with just baseline temperament. Like they're in a trade, they're out of a trade, zero attachment, and very zen and very Buddhist. That's not me. Like I'm like, fuck, we're going through like all in. Like and like I've lost so much money this way, and I don't like I wouldn't recommend anyone do it. I think a lot of it, the like a lot of people will come on and say the reason I made it through is because of myself, my grit, whatever resilience. I think that's a huge part, but it aligns and only works with the luck surface area, right? Because a lot of what happened to me has been lucky. I was there early. I was, maybe in the right group chat early, but I was in the public chats too, right? So I joined public chats. That's how I got into like the so the, I guess a good like a piece of advice I would give is you're not going to get in alpha chats right away because no like you don't really have anything to show. You're not adding value. Uh, but what you can do is you can be in the public chats. You can be a bag worker for a coin, especially if you're early, and really form that bond with these people. Then bring value every day. Show that you're a hard worker. Show that you have some sort of eye for like what the taste is, and then over time you're going to see the same people in these group chats, right? And then you're going to go back and forth, you're going to go back and forth months, whatever. Then you DM them about something that you were talking about. Hey, like what you said earlier about this coin, like tell me more about it, whatever. Just have some sort of way to connect. From there, that's how you get the one-on-one DMs. The one-on-one DMs turn into like, hey, you got any groups I can join? Or hey, I got a group I want to make, like, do you want to join this group? So a lot of it just comes from like putting yourself out there. And the good thing about bag working is like you really have to niche down, I think, in terms of like getting better at crypto, because there's so many things that can point you like and drag you in different directions. By really just focusing on being the best at one thing, that's how you make a name for yourself. Afterwards you can always expand, right? But like if you are really good at one thing, then people can come to you and be like, hey, I saw that were, you know you're really good at the RWA plays or some shit, right? Like you have to have that sort of level of expertise that is beyond like 90% of the population, 90% of the traders, for you to get recognized. And I think a lot of people, they try to do it too much, and then next thing you know, they're like really shitty at everything, and like they have opinions about everything, but like they don't know anything about one thing. And so yeah, you just have to, one, luck surface area, keep doing the things, being in the right positions, having that optimism, but also you have to get lucky. Like a lot of crypto is about lucky. We're gambling, right? So like when you're gambling, you're gonna lose and you're gonna win.
Yeah, for sure. So you shoot from the hip to get into these trades. How are you getting out of them? It seems like one of the hardest things to do as somebody who's kind of become the focal point or the face of a token is like, how do you sell?
Yeah, so I would say in terms of selling, I think with Zoomer, I didn't like I basically round trip like most of it. A lot of the times I do round trip most of it. Uh, I would say it's really hard to sell, but you have to be transparent with people from the beginning that like you have X, Y, and Z as your thesis, and if the thesis doesn't work out, then I'm not going to stay in a trade that doesn't work out. So for me, like for Fire right now, my biggest thesis relies on the base airdrop. uh, Exploration is, it's not confirmed, but like all the signs are pointing to it, and that's enough as well. Like something doesn't have to be confirmed for people to start bridging over in anticipation, doing things on chain in anticipation, having that volume on ramp in anticipation. So my thesis is, okay, you have this tailwind of an airdrop, potential airdrop on base. People are looking at that now. If that doesn't happen, then I'm wrong, right? If the volume doesn't go up, then I'm wrong. I'm going to do the best I can to get to that level. But also, if you go into like this bag working with like this like guarantees $100 million market cap, that's where we're going. We're going to the moon. Then when you do sell, people are gonna be like, "What the fuck, man? You said," like, that's why Murad has a huge problem, I think, because he put these crazy ass high targets. Where if he sells before that, then people are gonna be extremely angry. Whereas I don't really try to like I lay it out and I say, hey man, this is what I think and this is why I think is true, and I'm gonna work for it. Like I'm not gonna be, posting about something and then stop posting in 2 weeks. Like I'm already on 2 weeks. Like I'm gonna keep going until the summer ends, at least. And then if base doesn't get an airdrop, well, I'm probably selling my bags.
Got it. Okay. How do you identify that a narrative is like bubbling up?
So
Are
I'm
there
gonna
specific
use
metrics?
I'm gonna show fire right now just because this is a good way to explain it,
Yeah, yeah,
if
sure.
that's cool. So like I already mentioned, like you have to have a lot of different convergences and narratives in general. So you have the neat culture, which is opting out, right? People want to opt out of the system, super huge now. On culture, rejecting, over clicking. You have people who just really want to like hold one bag and like not do anything else, right? Next, you have the really like 10,000 different tokens being launched. I think it was like 30,000 being launched every day on Pump Fund. So people are actually really tired of that, right? And we can see it everywhere. The sentiment is pretty strong on that. Now, what is it about Pump Fund and what is it about the coins nowadays that is different than when I started in 2020? And what 2020 was my real first, like I made money. And this is how I made most of my money from DeFi. All of that was on-chain experimentation, right? Custom contracts. You had different like game theory incentives. You had people trying to like use pool 2 and they were like reading all the documentation. It was just like a lot of games and a lot of layers to the different levels of games that you could play. When Pump Fund came out, every single coin is launched by a launch pad, right? What that means is the same bonding curve, same contract. There's zero tax. It's a renounced contract. The dev doesn't do anything. Devs nowadays are a guy who clicks on the logo and then clicks a ticker and they're like, this is my coin.
Right.
And so what are people really looking at right now in terms of what is unculture and what is like neat culture kind of signal? To me, it signals return to tradition, right? It signals, hey, things were better before because we didn't have all this. And then what we see now was Asteroid launching on Ethereum and doing, almost 200 mil now, waking up all the dormant EVM mainnet Ethereum whales. Well, you know what these guys all love? If they're anything like me, and I have talked to them, these Pepe whales, these whatever, like old school whales, they love Ponzi's. They love the on-chain experimentation. A lot of these guys made a lot of money on PancakeSwap, on Yams, on YFI, on Ohm, on Time, all these things, right? These are all custom contracts. And so Fire really made a lot of sense to me because you have this, let's do less and let's just opt out of this system. The system fucking sucks. We have this we have this nostalgia where it's like, hey, why don't we like bring back like these incentive games and like these levels of uh, layers on the games that we can play. And so the reason I really like Fire is because one, it does all that. It fits all these narrative pieces. But most importantly, you don't have to do anything, right? And it's actually the first time I've seen from my understanding, like in DeFi back in the day, you had if you wanted a higher APY or a payout, what you needed to do was stake your tokens, lock your tokens. You needed to like learn how to use bonds. You had to learn about the rebase. There's a lot of like sophistication with this time weighted reflection. What it did is it basically said you hold the coin, you get paid every hour into your wallet. That's it. The longer you hold, the more you get paid. If you sell any of the coins, you lose your multiplier, the earning rate. And so that's kind of how it went to me. And I really like this because um, the final thing I'll say about this is you take a look at the narrative convergences, right? Like all the different things that like the sentiment, where the tailwinds are heading in the base chain, the nostalgia from the EVM guys who have made a lot of money on the on-chain stuff, to how simple is it for me to explain this to a retail normie person on TikTok? Well, a barber could say you hold longer, you earn more. That's it, right? And one thing I do love about FOMO is the fact that FOMO makes this onboarding process so easy. Because back in the day, I worked on a lot of projects where we would like get the TikTok normies and be like, "Hey, buy this meme coin on Binance Chain. All you gotta do is get some gas, use the bridge, go on here, do this, do that, do this, do that, do this, that." I'm like,
Right.
okay, I think I lost them on step one, right? Whereas now, you can do an authentic like TikTok campaign or Instagram campaign. It's like, hey, buy it on FOMO. You can use, you know, Apple Pay, you can use whatever you have, right? So FOMO's been really good at onboarding and just being able to get people into the game. So I do have to give my hats off to FOMO for that.
So one thing that kind of I hear consistently from folks when I talk to them, especially folks that have been around a couple of cycles, is this idea of like, if it's hard to do, there's usually some alpha there. We're seeing ton memes popping off right now, right?
Hmm.
Because you got to do some additional work to like even go buy them. You can't just buy them anywhere. You
Hmm.
could argue that EVM or like this move in Asteroid maybe has a little bit to do with the fact that most people had taken their money off of ETH, right? And so
Hmm.
now they got to go and they got to, if they don't know how, they got to go figure out how to buy it and bridge or whatever. If they do know how, it's a couple additional steps. What you're describing is what you're describing used to be really hard. Like there are other
Hmm.
tokens that did this. I
Hmm.
could think of one like retarded APR is one that comes to mind from I don't know if you ever paid attention to that token, but
Mm.
I think it launched, I don't know, I don't even remember, 2024 maybe. It
Hmm.
was like you buy the token, you stake it, and then you just earn. Um, you've taken a lot of like that difficulty, that thing that made it historically has made it a token do well. You've like removed that. Does that then remove? Does that change the importance of having that difficulty there? I guess.
So I think the way I look at it is in terms of friction. Is friction is there. Friction has to be intentional, right? Like
Hmm.
friction has to be like the reason that a lot of the best asymmetric opportunities have friction is because you are early to something.
Right.
The more someone feels early to something, the better it is in terms of like bringing that opportunity for like bringing the upside of the opportunity, right? Like if you do things that other people aren't willing to do, and with fire, I would specifically say it's really hard to hold. Most people don't hold. Like you can look at the average hold times. So that's incentive there, and also the fact that I always believe that in terms of these games, you sh- the best way to create a good game on chain is to have it not force you to do anything. Just like I said, the best bag workers are the ones who say, here's the picture, here are the dots I connected, you make your judgment. Whereas with fire is here's the game plan, here's the optimal game theory, way to, win. You can do it. You can sell if you want, but like here's what the game makes incentivized to be rational for you. Now, if we talk about like, Ethereum, and we talk about like where you can get edge, I do think that being able to go out your comfort zone and doing the things that are really like just uncertain is the best thing you can do in crypto ever. Like 8 years, always had a lot of success doing that. One example was with NFTs in like 2021, where there was there's NFT called like the N projects, the number project,
Oh, I remember this.
like right after loot.
Yeah.
And in order to mint it, you actually had to go on Etherscan and you had to like mint through the contract.
Contract. Yeah.
And it was like, 0.1 Ethereum, whatever, gas fees. And I sat there for hours minting these fucking tokens. I didn't know where it was gonna go, but I'm like, hey man, like and the thing is I always sigh up myself. I always sigh up myself early because I just have this huge mountain of like, this is the upside. And it bites me in the ass a lot of times. But I'm willing to sit there and do things that I think will have extreme upside. So I minted like 30 of these for like, what was it, like, 3 Ethereum. Each one of them were selling for like, I think it's like $10,000, $12,000 after. And the
Yeah.
rare ones,
Oh, let's
like
go.
my thesis there was like the autists are gonna love this shit. They love these
Mhm.
numbers and shit. So I knew, and I know crypto is full of like these, autistic motherfuckers, right? So they're gonna go crazy over this. I think that one was like that was my best NFT trade ever in terms of like, minting that and then selling that. And some of them were rare, so they were going for like 30 Ethereum. Some of them, it's just Ethereum at that point was $4,000, so
Crazy. Um, you've said that you should be able to make life-changing money in your first full cycle.
yes, you should be able to make life-changing money in your first cycle, and you most likely were gonna lose all of it. Like I think most people are gonna make money in crypto, in a bull market. In a bull market, most people will make a lot of money. Everyone you know is making a lot of money. Everyone you know is also going to lose all of it, right? Especially the first cycle. So a lot of it just comes with risk management, and you don't learn it until it really hurts. Actually, the one person that I will always give shout outs to is UM. So UM, I actually helped onboard him to crypto,
Wow.
and so we were talking, and he was. It was like the first month of crypto, and he made some decent amount. It was just like on Myro and like back in like the early Solana trenches. It was like the end of the month. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna trade everything I'm gonna sell everything I have. I'm gonna put it in USDC, and I'm just gonna take this for my month's like this is my month, how much I made or whatever." I'm like, I've never done that. Like the first 4 years of crypto, I held only coins. Like I didn't know what a fucking stable coin was. Like my portfolio would just go down and I'd be like, oh well, what else can I do? Like I never
Yeah.
thought about buying
All right.
USDT or USDC. I was just in the game, right? Like the first 4 years of crypto, I cashed $0 out. $0. I just put money in. It was like a like you like this is good, like it's not aspirational. It's just like me being retarded, but also like in terms of like the going back to the resilience stuff, like I didn't get lucky early. I just kept fucking showing up every fucking day for years, right? I I put in all my money, lost all of it. Put in more money, lost all of it. I was working a job, and then like for 4 years, I cashed $0 out. Like the first time I cashed anything out, I was like, oh, you can take money out of this thing. But since then, I haven't cashed. I haven't put in any dollars in since 2021. So like now it's all house money. But like if you want to win at something, you have like because the thing is, I'm not smart. Like or at least I'm not exceptionally smart. I'm not a sharp. I'm not a quant. I'm not whatever. So I have to put in that effort. And there's gonna be sharps. There are a shit ton of sharps who are gonna take your money. There's gonna be like people who like me who are probably gonna give you some money. But in general, I would say the biggest thing is like if you aren't willing to like really be matched up to people who are gonna be here for 4 years and like not like these guys who are like as obsessed about this game as I am or like the top traders are, you're not gonna you're not gonna make it. And to end off on what you said, like you should make life make you should like make life changing money on your first cycle because it shows that you have a little bit of like taste to know what does well.
Mm.
You do need that. Like if you've been here for 8 years and you haven't made any money, or 5 years or 3 years, like you just never made any money, and not in the bull market, you just never made money. Yeah, you probably should find something else to do.
How has bag working changed over the time that you've been in the space? Has it?
Mm. I think it's changed a lot, right? Because it used to be a lot more like explanation, people cared about tech a lot more. So like the tech was the main thing that people bag worked about, right? Now it's more about the narrative. It's about like now it's like, oh, the owner, as you said, claimed the TikTok or whatever, right? Uh, it's changed a lot. I think there's more noise now. I mean, there's so many coins. It's easier to launch a new coin than to bag work a coin, and that's just the way it is. I will say one thing: if you are a bag worker, a piece of advice would be if you're going to be reply guying, a bunch of like your rating or whatever, the worst thing I think you can do is because you have to really step into like yourself. Like if you are looking on Twitter, you're seeing how many tickers every fucking day, right? Everyone's got a ticker and they're like, hey, check this ticker out. This is why it's going up. That being a reply guy and just sharing the ticker and sharing all the information about the coin gives zero value. Like people do not give a fuck about that. Like I'm gonna read that, I'm gonna scroll past. The better method I found is you reply to every tweet in context. So you give them like you're replying to the tweet and then you're also dropping it in whatever you're saying, right? But you don't give them the full story, right? You never reply guy and then say like here's fire 4 token. It's gonna give you this. Hold longer, earn this, whatever, right? Like because now they already have all the information. Why do they need to learn more? What you say is, hey, there's this new custom contract, or like hey, there's this thing that's never been done before, or like if you got a meme coin, like oh, there's this meme coin, there's something's happening. Uh, I ever since started holding this meme coin, I've been doing better with my performance. I've been talking about it on my feed or something. Like, don't drop the ticker, don't drop the CA, don't drop anything that really tells you what the coin is. And people will reply to be like, "Hey, what's the contract?" Or they'll go on your page like, "Oh, what is this that you're talking about?" That's much more better with the CTR, the click through rate in terms of like getting people intrigued. Like with bag working, you really want people intrigued, right? You want them to be like, "Oh, what's this?" Like it you're reading through all these tickers. Then there's a guy who's like shilling something, but he's not showing the ticker. You're like, what the fuck is this? And so I think that being able to like really put yourself in the shoes of who you're trying to target, and it goes all the way back to like I used to be a product marketer, and like don't talk about your product. Like, don't talk about your product. Like, who cares if it's 10 times faster? Who cares if your product does this and that? No one gives a fuck. What they care is how can I help them, right? That's like you're. How can I help them? Well, this is good. This coin's gonna make you a lot of money. Why? Because we'll find out more.
Interesting. What's the biggest mistake that new traders make?
Biggest mistake that new traders make. I think new traders are making so many mistakes because they have zero context into anything. So you log on and like the guy who's telling you to buy this coin, the guy who's like saying that you don't have the nuance to understand what you're doing is right or wrong. And I would say the biggest problem with a lot of new traders is th- they'll believe things at face value, or so there's two ways. So either they believe things at face value and they say, okay, like this is the trade, and you don't know enough to know like this has been tried before and never worked, or you become like the super duper like critical, like you get burned on one trade and everything's a scam. Like fuck this is a scam, right? Like this is a scam and this is why it's not going to work, and you just spend all your time like doing all this research, but you don't actually do it. You don't make trades. I think you just have to make trades and make mistakes, uh, and have good risk management levels, which I don't follow personally. But like, you just have that level of risk management because you're gonna zero out, and most people don't want to zero out, right? I zero out, anyways. Um, in terms of like being able to like dumb yourself down as well, because you know who the people who you know who performed underperformed the most in 2024 during the AI season?
I have no idea who.
AI experts,
Hmm.
people who are in the AI space, because they looked at Goat and they looked at this stuff. They're like, "What the fuck is this? Like, this is retarded." They looked at Genon, they looked at all that. They're like, "No one's gonna buy this. Like, this has been done before so many times." You look at Motebook. Oh, like these are just bots. These are all bots. Like, it's very easy to like mid curve yourself to things in
Right.
crypto. Like,
Yeah.
this doesn't make sense because, or this does make sense, but like, yeah, the ceiling is not high because just being able to like dumb yourself down and like following the narrative. I think Kobe said this really well. Just like try things, right? Like, who cares? It could be a scam. Who cares? Like, don't give your money to someone, but like the narrative is going to be much more significant than the actual fundamentals 90% of the time in crypto. That's just the way it works, right? Like, how many of these AI 2024 season coins are left? Well, you're here to trade the market, and the biggest rule in crypto is to turn your shit coins into Bitcoin or USDC, right? That's it, right? That's your job. Your job is not to get more shitcoins, right? Everything, like you can say, like for me, like I come in with everything. With everything is a scam baseline, but I'm gonna bet on the scams, right? Doesn't mean I'm gonna buy the cabal coins or whatever, but I just know that everything can go to zero. So what I want is USDC and Bitcoin.
For somebody who's listening who wants to develop like this bag worker personality and reputation, what's the one warning that you'd give them?
You should know the team, or at least know what the team is going to do. If you are going to put your reputation on behind something, you should know that the team is not gonna fuck you. Um, you should know who's involved. You should know how much supply they control. You should know uh, what their plan is. You should know, are they committed? With like the reason, like Fire went through like 4 relaunches because this is custom contracts. That shit just kept on breaking. But I knew I could trust the developer because I've been with him for so long. Like, I've known him for so long that I knew he was gonna make it right. He's gonna work. Like, he wasn't just gonna be like, oh, yeah, too tough. I give up, right?
Hmm.
So you should know, like, if you're gonna CTO a coin, well, you should know if there's any dormant supply that's ready to dump on your ass. If you're gonna launch your own coin, you should really like have people who have experience running things, because like it's not easy. Like, it's extremely hard thing to do, and you kind of just have to like either really have obsession and believe in something, or you have to be, just willing to work through the slow times. Because like right now, like the coin, like, and I've done this with every single coin that I've sort of bag worked in the past. Like, I still remember one of the coins that ran from like, I think it was like 300K market cap in 2021 to like 120 mil. So I bag worked the whole time, right? There's a period where the volume was so low that I would wake up. I had an alarm set every 3 hours or every 2 or 3 hours at nighttime. So I would wake up and I would like put my own money into this bag. I would buy a guy's dip. Like, someone would sell a bag, I would buy it and then go back to sleep. I did that for fucking weeks, right? And everything worked out because of like the euphoria and froth at that time. But like,
Hmm.
y- it has to be more than money to you, because you're not actually gonna make a lot of money from bag working unless everything goes like perfectly well. like you are going to learn a lot. You are going to build your reputation. You are going to build a connection. I have made really good connections from every single coin I bag worked, because you find who makes really cool graphics, who makes really cool videos, who like has a connection to like these, these different groups. You people respect you if you commit to something. Also, you learn about how to sell something, right? Because what is bag working? It's selling your vision to someone else. If
True.
you don't have an idea of what really makes people tick, if you don't have an idea how to craft your messaging, then you're going to be a worse trader, because just like on FOMO, like when you write a thesis, you're trying to sell them on your idea, right? And you need reps to be able to tell that story. Like if you trade with a way that is specifically, exclusively on your own point of view of things, like you're not going to make it very far, because you need to know what other people are going to think. If you only care about like what you think, and like, oh, this is a good coin because like it resonates with me because of X, Y, and Z, then how big is that surface area? Most likely pretty small.
Yeah, right. Interesting. Who's like the everybody's always looking for like the underappreciated falls on FOMO. They're of course the big names, the guys that are just crushing kind of pretty consistently. Is there anybody that you can point to on FOMO that like maybe more people should be paying attention to?
Yeah, let me look. I follow them whenever I see them. Let me check. What is this guy? Well, there's some actually. I don't know like if I should reveal them, just because I'm not sure how they would feel,
Give
but
us a
like,
little give us a little Sonder Alpha. Come on.
let's see. I'm looking at these now. Some of these people I follow, they're like not as active anymore. So
Oh,
I actually
interesting.
don't have too much alpha on this side. I'm sorry.
A side quest for you. What's your favorite way to use FOMO that maybe like people wouldn't expect?
Yeah, the way I look at FOMO is I really try to get. I think it's the same thing as that when I look at X, right? You want to create your own alpha, which is you want to have sentiment alignment between the people that you trust. So if I see people who are into something early, I usually like say I'll give them like a +1, and then I'll see like if there's like 3 or 4 people that align on a similar narrative or meta, then I use that as a way to really identify what is earlier than what is early and what is worth paying attention to. Also, I like people have been using it, but like if you look on FOMO and like you just have see everyone is just like in on the trade already, then you kind of have to ask yourself what the upside is.
Okay. Last question for you because we're bumping up here on time. Back in February, you posted about numerology. You said numerology, mythology, astrology confluence this year has been insane. What are you seeing? How has it played out so far? I want to know everything there is to know about this.
Okay, so this actually all stems from one of my buddies, or yeah, who he's like, he was like he's like one of the top hyperliquid whales, or PNLs on the leaderboard back in the day, and
Is he on FOMO?
he no, he's perps, strictly perps,
Got it.
but he I actually thought like 'cause I've never really been a big astrology guy, but like as I've gotten a little older, I'm just like, man, things just don't make sense sometimes, and I just run with things now. I'm just like, you know what? If there's some woo woo shit, like I fuck with it because it's like, what was it? There's like millionaires don't believe in astrology, but billionaires do, and he was like the
Right.
clearest example of this because this guy is rich as fuck, and he was doing all these crazy astrology charts of like, this year is the year of the fire horse,
Horse.
which is
Yeah.
like chasing into like new it's like a year of like extreme change. There's another thing about like him, he was pointing out like this is like a once in 30,000 cycle of like the astrology or whatever. And I'm just like, and then also this was the first year that Lent, Ramadan and the Lunar New Year were the same day. And all these things just kind of like you see what's happening in the world. Like it was just basically like for me, I think you create your own reality, right? You can choose what to believe in and what to ignore. And I think if you can believe in things that make you feel better and make you better motivated, better prepared to do whatever you want to do, I think that's extremely powerful because, like I say, when I do my bag working, I psy up myself first. Like I'm like writing so much or talking so fast and like really passionate about something because I like have spent so much time just like giving myself that propaganda. I'm like, oh man, like this is like there's zero chance of failure. Like anything between now and whenever that date is, like has already happened, and I'm just like waiting for reality to play out. And like the craziest thing is like I've seen it happen so many times where like I just and if it does happen, I'm very easy at forgetting things. So like it doesn't work out. I'm just like, ah, oh well, I had conviction, but like yeah, it didn't work out. Like you just move on, right? And I think that that's part of one of the things that I can think about is when I was like first got my wife. I think we were like 21 or something, and I was working at like an electronics store, and I was like making $12 an hour. I sold cell phone plans, and I'm like, yeah, one day I'm gonna be a millionaire. And she's like, how? It's like I didn't know any millionaires. I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And like, you know, like 10 years down the road, whatever. Like, like, but I wasn't like I'm gonna be a millionaire and I'm gonna just sit here and it's gonna drop on my lap, right? It's gonna be
Sure.
like I spent so much time online learning before I got to crypto. Like I did like ecom, I did Amazon affiliate ads. I did fucking copywriting. I did blog posting. I did YouTube. I did everything. Like and like from all that, I made no money. Like I made like fucking $200, maybe $300. Like it was just failure all through. So like I think for me, like that resilience and that grit, which is it was maybe it's not hardwired into my DNA, but it was just like something I built over so many years of accumulation where like I failed for so long and I just kept going because I just like had that that thing in the future that I could like kind of walk towards.
That's what's up, man. That's all life is, right? A constant set of failures and trials and tribulations and overcoming. That's it.
100%.
Sonder, dude, this has been awesome, man. I've really enjoyed chatting with you. Any last words for the audience?
This is one thing that's not trading related, but I think it really kind of made an impact on the way I look at like that kind of like guided me was like I don't know the exact quote, but and I don't his name is Use on YOUS on Twitter, I believe. He might have a new Twitter, but like he basically talked about how life is not about having a map. Like you don't go from point your wherever you are to your destination. It's more about having like a compass, right? So you're walking directionally in the way that you want to go in your life. And I am getting philosophical. I'm just like a philosophical guy. Like if I'm drinking with you, I'm just going into this kind of shit all the time.
Let's
But
go.
it's just like you don't want to your destination is not going to be where you think it's going to be, right? I would have never thought crypto. I would have never thought whatever I'm doing now. Like it was just me showing up every fucking day doing things that I enjoy. Like I enjoy bag working because I enjoy thinking about this shit. I enjoy writing this shit. I enjoy like I don't have to force myself to like bag work. I just it's in my mind and I have like 10 tweets out before in my head before I even log on the computer. That's like on my notes as I'm like sleeping. I wake up and I'll put a note in. Like you have to find something that gives you that. And if you don't, like find things that you enjoy doing and eventually like they all kind of like everything that you do in life it kind of you take a bit from each, right? It's transferable, like that grit. Like martial arts has taught me more about resilience than a lot of other things I've done because I know how to suck. Like I suck. Everyone sucks in martial arts, right? No one is good at fighting until they get in the gym and they get beat up. No one is good at trading until they get in the the markets and they lose a lot of money. It's all about just getting through that suck. And like if you feel like right now is the bottom, like chances are, odds are, you are closer to that bottoming. Because just look at the sentiment recently, right? Sentit had put up his video. Everyone said the success stories and the make it rich stories in crypto are gone forever. There's no more edge here. Go to AI, whatever. That was prevailing sentiment. Bitcoin is 82K now or something. Um, People are waking up on their Asteroid wallets from like fucking $100 to like $1 million. People are waking up on like Ton networks making like 20-30x in like fucking less than the 2 months. Like there's just always opportunity there. And if you're able to like just stop like feeling sorry for yourself and just like being like, okay, well, shit's hard, but you just gotta go through it, then yeah, no guarantees of success, but you're gonna increase your luck surface area.
That's what's up. Sonder, man, such a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We will be back on Thursday with Shams for another episode of In the Trenches presented by FOMO. Shout out FOMO. Shout out the FOMO family Discord who's hanging out. Yeah, again, Sonder, thanks for being here with us, man. We really
Thanks for having
appreciate
me.
it.
Take care.
All right, man. Everybody, y'all be good. We'll see you next time.